New, sad information changes everything concerning Rob Reiner's death. Rob Reiner was born in New York on March 6, 1947, City. He was almost meant to work in show business. Carl Reiner, a famous comedian, actor, writer, and director, and Estelle Reiner, an actress, are his parents. Being raised in a home where creativity, comedy, and keen social observation were common, Reiner learned the rhythms of comedy and narrative at a young age, not as a form of art, but as a live, breathing trade done at the greatest level. In the 1970s, Reiner became famous as an actor when he played Michael Meathead Steak on the landmark TV show All in the Family from 1971 to 1979. The show was groundbreaking because it was ready to talk with sensitive social and political issues directly. Reiner's character provided a liberal counterbalance to Archie Bunker's conservative perspective of the world. Reiner made Meathead one of the most memorable characters in TV history by being earnest, angry a lot, and having great comic timing. He won several Emmys for the part, which made him known as both a talented comedian and an actor who wasn't afraid to tackle tough material. For a lot of people, Reiner was a symbol of a change in American culture that happened over the course of a generation. He showed the arguments, conflicts, and hopes of the time. But Rob Reiner's greatest legacy would be behind the camera. He moved from acting to directing in the 1980s and immediately showed that he had an amazing versatility and an almost supernatural ability to tell stories. His first time directing, This Is Spinal Tap 1984, which he co-wrote with Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer, became one of the most famous comedies ever. The movie was a mockumentary about a made-up British rock band. It was both funny and very insightful, making fun of the excesses of rock culture while also praising its silliness. This Is Spinal Tap started off as a cult movie, but over time it became a cultural landmark that changed the way people talked about pop culture and influenced generations of comedians and filmmakers. What happened next was one of the most amazing runs of directing in modern Hollywood. Reiner showed that he could do more than just humor. He could master almost any type of music he wanted. He made a sophisticated and sincere romantic comedy with The Sure Thing in 1985. Stand By Me, 1986, based on a Stephen King short story, showed how well he could capture the emotional realities of being a teenager. It was a timeless coming-of-age drama that mixed nostalgia, humor, and silent melancholy. The movie struck a chord with both fans and critics, solidifying Reiner's status as a director with a rare level of empathy and intelligence. The Princess Bride, 1987, was another amazing movie that he made. It was hard to put into a box because it combined fantasy, romance, adventure, and comedy into a masterpiece that people still quote all the time. It didn't do very well at the box office when it first came out, but it became one of the most loved movies of all time, enjoyed by people of all ages for its humor, tenderness, and honesty. Reiner's direction found the right mix of cynicism and real passion, which let the movie make fun of fairy tales while still paying tribute to their lasting power. When Harry Met Sally 1989 showed how flexible Reiner was even more. The movie is widely considered one of the best romantic comedies ever filmed. It used comedy and honesty to look at love, friendship, and the difficulties of modern relationships. It was based on a script by Nora Ephron and included famous performances. It has had a huge impact on the genre, and filmmakers still try to live up to the standard it set decades later. Reiner then made Misery 1990, a taut psychological thriller that won Kathy Bates an Academy Award for Best Actress. This showed once again that he could get great performances and keep the suspense high. In the 1990s, Reiner kept making movies with different topics and techniques. For example, A Few Good Men 1992 was a courtroom drama that mixed moral depth with snappy dialogue. And The American President 1995 was a romantic comedy that mixed romance with political idealism, even though critics didn't always like his later movies. It was clear that Reiner was still dedicated to conveying stories via characters and making them clear. Reiner announced in June 2021 that he was working on a TV show with 10 to 13 episodes about the relationship between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. He claimed that the initiative would span the childhoods of the leaders, up to the point where their lives overlap. Reiner said he is working on the project, which he has entitled The Spy and the Asset, with writer Ward Perry. Rob Reiner's personal life has been closely linked to the creative circles of Hollywood for a long time. His marriages, in particular, show how his profession as a director has changed over time and how he has grown emotionally. In 1971, Rob Reiner married Penny Marshall, an actress, director, and producer. At the time, both were becoming well known in comedy and television. Their partnership arose out of a common sense of humor, performance, and a profound understanding of the entertainment business. Marshall was already developing a name for herself as an actress, and Reiner was becoming well known for his part as Michael Meathead Stivic on All in the Family. Marshall would subsequently become one of Hollywood's most famous female directors. Their marriage was as much a creative relationship as it was a romantic one. Based on respect for each other and a strong work ethic, Reiner adopted Tracy Reiner, Marshall's daughter, from her first marriage to actor Michael Henry, while they were married. Reiner made a strong and lasting commitment to being a father by formally adopting Tracy. He took on the duties of parenting her as if she were his own kid. Later, Tracy would follow in her family's footsteps and become an actress. She starred in movies including A League of Their Own, which her mother directed. Reiner's role as Tracy's adoptive father showed that he thought of family as more than just biology. It was also about love and duty. And even after he married Marshall, he was always there for her. Reiner and Marshall had a lot of pleasant years together. But the stress of their jobs and their disagreements eventually got to them. The pair were divorced in 1981, 10 years after they got married. Even though they broke up, they still respected each other and spoke well of each other in the years that followed. Their divorce was a big change for both of them. Marshall would go on to direct some of the most popular comedies of the 1980s and 1990 Seconds. Reiner, on the other hand, became more focused on directing and quickly became known as one of Hollywood's most versatile and respected directors. When Harry Met Sally, one of the most famous romantic comedies of Reiner's career, was made some years later. This was a big turning point in Reiner's personal life. Reiner met photographer Michelle Singer while he was making the movie. Reiner was going through a tough time after his divorce, and his talks with Singer had a big effect on both his mood and his creative choices. Reiner is said to have changed the finale of the movie because of their talks about love, relationships, and commitment. Instead of leaving the protagonists in a state of emotional uncertainty, Reiner opted for a hopeful and affirming climax that reflected his own rediscovered faith in enduring love. Reiner and Singer's relationship went from being a professional or philosophical one to a serious romantic one. They got married in 1989, starting a relationship that would last the longest of Reiner's life. Reiner's first marriage happened when he was still new to popularity, but his marriage to a singer happened when he was both a man and an artist. Their relationship was stable. They helped each other, and they both cared about family life. Reiner and Singer had 3 children together, even though they kept directing big movies together. Jake Reiner, their oldest son, was born in 1991. Nick Reiner was born in 1993, and Romy Reiner was born in 1997. During this time, becoming a father was very important to Reiner. It helped him deal with the stress of Hollywood and changed the way he thought about storytelling, relationships, and responsibility. He has often said that becoming a parent made him more aware of his feelings and strengthened the principles of empathy and connection that are present in many of his movies. Many people think that Reiner's marriage to Michelle Singer has made him happier and more emotionally stable. Their long-lasting relationship is different from the ups and downs that often come with celebrity marriages. It shows how Reiner has grown from a youthful TV star to a seasoned director and family guy. Rob Reiner's early marriage to Penny Marshall and his long-lasting relationship with Michelle Singer are both important parts of his life story. They show how he grew as a person and how his experiences affected his work as a director in subtle but significant ways. On the morning of December 14, 2025, emergency responders from the Los Angeles Fire Department were sent to a quiet, tree-lined street in the wealthy Brentwood section of Los Angeles after a welfare check request sparked concerns at a well-known private property. The house, which has been linked to filmmaker and actor Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer for a long time, had apparently been unusually quiet for a few days. There were no answered calls, no observable activity, and no response to repeated attempts by close friends to get in touch. When they got there, first responders found something terrible. Inside the house, police found the bodies of a 78-year-old man and a 68-year-old woman. At the time of the first report, officials followed usual procedure and did not reveal the names of the dead. The department's first statement was short and professional. It just gave the ages of the victims and confirmed that there were no traces of forced entry evident from the outside of the house right away. The news of the discovery circulated quickly through Los Angeles and the entertainment sector, thanks to worry and speculation. Within hours after police finished their initial identification procedures, it was officially confirmed that the dead were Rob Reiner, the famous director, producer, and actor whose career spanned more than 5 decades, and his wife Michelle Singer, a photographer and activist who had mostly stayed out of the public eye. The news shocked Hollywood, where Reiner was seen as not simply a creative force behind classic movies, but also as a profoundly connected and revered figure among artists of all ages. As the police looked more closely at the scene, the circumstances of the deaths became more sinister. Authorities said that both fatalities had fatal stab wounds, which suggests that they were involved in a violent incident rather than something that happened by mistake or by nature. The revelation changed the tone of the inquiry almost away. Police secured the premises as a possible crime scene and began a complete forensic inspection of the home. Entertainment news sites like TMZ said that people close to the inquiry said that the deaths were being looked into as possible murders. Detectives were looking into a number of options, such as whether the event was a planned attack, a personal disagreement, or an unknown person who would have been able to sneak into the house. The lack of an immediate suspect only added to the mystery, which led to a lot of media attention and public speculation. In this timeline, tributes started to come in even while the investigation was still going on. Other filmmakers, actors, and politicians were shocked and sad. They thought about Reiner's long-lasting impact, which included his early recognition as meathead on All in the Family and his well-known directing work on movies like The Princess Bride, Stand By Me, and When Harry Met Sally. Friends recognized Michelle Singer as a steadying force in Reiner's later years. She was known for her quiet strength and love to her family. Authorities stressed the need for patience as they looked into the case more and put together the pieces of the timetable. The Brentwood home, which used to be a peaceful place and a symbol of creative success and family stability, was the center of a tragedy that shook Hollywood and brought up old conversations about safety, privacy, and the hidden weaknesses of even the most famous people.